2016 is the year that I feel the most nostalgia for. Like back then, things were like such a I can't even put into words how much I was happy and enjoying life back then. And I didn't realize that I am like such a in such a privileged place back then, but 2016 probably was the best year in my life I've had so far. In a way, in some ways, it was also the worst because 2016 is the year that Trump got elected. But at the same time, like I'll explain in this video, but it's it was really I was such a happy boy back then. So one thing that makes 2016 the happiest year is because that was the year that I had my first love. And like sure, in when I was in first second grade, I kind of had like small sort of like feelings towards girls and things like that people, everyone, I think everyone has that kind of feelings towards other people. But what I felt towards this specific girl in 2016 was like really something really different, another level. So she I met her at the camp, um specifically like a music camp. I played cello back then. In 2016 I was in fifth grade and then going into sixth grade. So September 2016 was the beginning of sixth grade. But before that, so the summer break after fifth grade, I was in this camp for like 2 weeks. And she played violin. She was half Japanese, half white, I think. And like she was such a kind girl. Like, you know, I some like not just girls, to be fair, like some people just like don't really respect me, I guess. Like I'm not too outspoken person. I'm introverted for the most part. Although that's not like the entirety of my personality. Sometimes I'm really loud, but most of the time I'm introverted. And people don't really like enjoy talking to me, I guess. But she was like always willing to talk to me, and she even let me like borrow a book from her once. Like I didn't even ask her, but she was such a nice sweet girl that she lent me this Japanese book. I think it was some like novel or something. And it was such a fun times. Like that 2 weeks probably was, I was feeling so much, like some emotions that I've never felt in my life. Like I didn't, as I said, I was in love with like girls in first second grade, things like that. You know as everyone except for asexual people do, like I had feelings towards people here and there. But that was like really really some big love that I don't think can be explained just by like the word crush, right? So that was one thing. And then on another level, wait, yeah, I guess that was 2015, I guess. So yeah, 2015 to 16 probably would be the good way to describe, because I just realized that was 2015, summer of 2015. And then going into 2016, so this was another one, because in sixth grade there like looking back, I was thinking so much about girls back then. Like I mean, that wasn't the only thing I thought about, and I didn't really share it with too many people. But I will say I kind of did, um but anyways, like sixth grade, going into sixth grade, I was like, um, sixth grade was like very unique year in my life, like school life for me, because I kind of had like really some friends, like, substantial number of friends, which is rare for me. Um, and there was this girl that was like sitting in front of me. Like we changed seats a lot when you were like in middle school, elementary school, as people know. But like she was like, for some reason, I was like always, her seat was like just right in front of me like multiple times. And like you know she was pretty tall, and she was like kind, and you know I got feelings for her too. But then like I kind of um my feelings towards her, like I was, some boy asked me like if I liked her or something, and then I was like, well, he didn't ask me if I liked her, he asked me who I like, and then I was like, I like her. Well, I didn't straight up say it because I didn't really want to, but he was like so persistent that I kind of stupidly did at the end. And then after that, like after a while, she kind of got to know that I loved her. So, after that, things kind of got awkward and I didn't really talk to her. So that was unfortunate. But yeah. And also, like, the thing is, not just that, like, in terms of politics, looking back, 2016 was the year that Bernie Sanders was ran for president in the Democratic primary, and he was really surging, but the Democratic establishment crushed him, right? But like seeing his surge was really like something that gave me hope. And I didn't really, I guess I was like this nerdy kid that like read newspapers and kept following politics and shit like that. I was like that always, but like 2016 was the year that got me really riled up on these things and kind of like woke me up to like the importance of politics, I guess. And like I lived in Michigan back then, and Michigan was the state that Bernie Sanders won um, in a stunning upset, because all of the polls had Hillary up by like 20 points, but Bernie won because people, Michiganders, were so sick of this phony establishment politics that was led by people like Hillary Clinton, right? And Bernie correctly pointed out Hillary's complicity in destroying the lives of um, many workers in these so-called Rust Belt areas by these disastrous trade deals like NAFTA. Um, so yeah, like that was really something that gave me hope, and I was filled with like hope and love and things like that back then. And I still, I mean, right now I think I am like in 2025, I kind of rebuilt my life in a way. Um, but then on, like 2017, I went back to Japan, and then things went downhill. I was bullied. I dropped out of high school in 2020, and then in 2022 I was in British Columbia for like a few months, but then I was doing miserable. I was just in a homestay in British Columbia, so I didn't really have any friends, felt really lonely. I was mentally disastrous. And then after and the 2022 to few years, 2023, 2024, I wasn't really doing anything. I moved here to Ontario because my parents started working here. But I was just ranting on YouTube for the most part, and sometimes I wasn't even doing that. I'm talking about in my Japanese main channel, as always. This channel's relatively recent, but yeah, like, but then this year I kind of started like my life again. I've talked about this in the other videos, but I started going to like, I started being more active in these like um communities advocating for Palestinian liberation and climate justice, things like that, issues I care about. And I also started going to college in September. So, and now I'm at the place of like peace and um I don't know. I guess I kind of rebuilt my life this year, but still, like in terms of politics, it's really disastrous. The genocide in Gaza is still going on, and Trump's president, Canada's prime minister is also just like a phony liberal, Mark Carney, and like conservatives are worse than that, and like yeah, like and in Japan where I'm from, we have a fascist prime minister now, right wing prime minister. She's fear warmongering with China. She's even floating the idea of Japan having nuclear weapons, which is disastrous. So yeah, like 2016, I look back and I was like, I always like when I want to feel like this hopeful nostalgia, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes I feel like so nostalgic. I just like look back. I was just doing this before I started recording this, like to what 2016 was like, specifically about like politics, like when Bernie Sanders was on the rise in 2016, and like I see like debate clips back then, Bernie destroying Hillary, things like that. Um, and like also like Heather Heyer, she's the woman that was murdered in 2017 Charlottesville white supremacist attack. Like thinking about people like her, she was also someone that was really inspired by Bernie Sanders in 2016. She was a Bernie supporter, and she was in Charlottesville in 2017 protesting against white supremacists when she was killed by when the white supremacist car drove over her and she was killed. Like thinking about her, like her story inspires me so much. Like she was also someone that was kind of struggling with her life. She's a college dropout, and she was like, I think, working in some lawyer firm or something. And she was like such a beautiful soul. And her parents too, like her father's interview just right after that attack was so beautiful. Like he was like saying, no, I just forgive the attacker. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He will be held accountable in justice. Like what's the point of being angry? And like that kind of, that level of empathy and forgiveness is like really, I, you know, yeah, like thinking about these things really makes me like hopeful for the world in some ways. Like obviously white supremacists killing her was such a terrible thing, and Trump winning in 2016 was also a bad thing, but like back then I really had hope in 2016, and like looking back at these like tweets from 2016 and the clips of Bernie Sanders from 2016, like that's how I like feel really nostalgic and peace, and just I like sometimes imagine what if Bernie Sanders had won in 2016. Like the genocide in Gaza at least wouldn't be as bad as it is right now. Like Bernie's been disappointing in terms of some issues in Palestine. In terms of Palestine, like he was against ceasefire early on in the genocide and things like that. But he, he's at least he's called for arms embargo, and he's recognized that it is a genocide right now. And if he had won, like healthcare, maybe universal healthcare would be taking place in United States. Genocide in Gaza would be, it's completely possible that it would have ended if Bernie had won. and all these wars and suffering around the world. Like this wouldn't have needed to happen if Bernie had won, right? So, honestly, like personally, on an emotional level, I hate the Democratic establishment more than like Trump in some ways. Because Trump, at least he believes in something. I mean, well, not really. Like he's just a selfish moron. But like he's not systematically establishment, person. Like I mean, he is bad, so like I shouldn't really be saying that I hate Democratic establishment more than Trump, because in terms of like policies, strictly policies, Trump is worse. But then at the same time, like the people that pretend to be on your side but aren't on your side, like that's kind of like really sometimes more annoying than like people that are clear enemies, right? Like that's where I'm coming from. But anyway, so I just wish so much Barney had won in 2016. But and like when I'm feeling tired as I was, like I always look back at like my memories from 2016, thinking about my first love, thinking about how Bernie Sanders was on the rise and everyone was like so united. Like people, like even people like Joe Rogan, who's like, kind of gone. I don't know how you even describe it, but he's like, he was sort of endorsing Trump in 2024, and he's kind of gone a weird way. Like even he was on Bernie Sanders train in 2016, and a lot of the people that like hate each other in these like political spheres at in 2025 like just was on the same side on Bernie Sanders train in 2016. Like even people that are like now conservative, like sadly like Dave Rubin, or even like uh Fairbanks, what was her? Cassandra Fairbanks. She's like gone far right, but like basically what I'm saying is, and Tulsi Gabbard, she's another one. Like a lot of the people were on the same side, genuinely wishing for the better world in 2016, and even people that were on Trump train, like they didn't like the culture wasn't as racist back then as it is now, right? So like I just sometimes you need to like run away from reality and just go back to 2016 and like these nostalgic years. And yeah, like yeah, yeah, I guess that's I've said what I wanted to say on this clip. So yeah, I hope like 2026 is like 2016. It's been 10 years. Wow. I just realized that next year is 2026, and I'm talking about 2016, 7, and 2015, 16. 10 years. That's something like long, short. I don't know how I feel about it, but yeah. Like in a weird way, like 2016 was like the last year that I kind of felt alive. Because from 2017 onwards, I kind of moved to Japan, and I was bullied and things have not been well since then. But 2025, this year, I feel like my life kind of restarted, so that's good. But yeah, I just love thinking about 2016 because that was the last time I kind of was like alive in a real way. But I don't know, what are your favorite years in your life? Maybe put that in the comment section. But yeah, peace. Free Palestine. Bye bye. Oh, by the way, that is like a poster that I bought yesterday at the event I was in. It was related to like building solidarity, and yeah, but Free Palestine. Bye bye.